comfort zone, then you have no business running that department. Back in Kenya, which is inferior to America, I call it inferior, my own definition. Because, number one, it is this Wazungus from here who brought the Seventh-day Adventist message to Kenya. So back there, we organize the departments in such a manner. We have the head, he forms a council, they meet every month, once, and in a quarter, they meet 2 times, studying something. During the third month, which is the end of the quarter, they call a seminar for the whole church to be able to know what they are studying in their area as a department. So if that's what you are doing, then I think you are doing a big service around. If you are not doing it, like I know, most churches in Kenya, and in Busi in particular, you call the names of the heads of department during the elections or the nominations, and the names are voted for, and that's about all that they can do in a year, until there comes a letter from the conference or from wherever, and then they read a program from the pulpit here. But my brothers and sisters, we are meant in our groupings, in our clusterings, to be trained for the gospel and to take out the gospel so that we can aid in the finishing of the gospel and we can go. So if you want to do the highest and the greatest job, it's that one of a preacher of the gospel. That's why, brother, Jack Sequera, Pastor Sequera, if you know him. How many of you know Jack Sequera? Quite some. He said this when he was in Africa. I am a preacher, a pastor of the gospel, and I cannot barter it for the presidency of the US. Quite naive, isn't it? Is that wise? You see, that pastor knows that the preaching of the gospel is the greatest and the highest work you can ever be entrusted to do. Because it saves you, number one, it saves you your family, Acts chapter 16, verse 31. There is a promise in Acts chapter 16, verse 31, which says, "Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved with all your house." And so I want to ask a question. How many of you love their families? How many? Some people are unsure whether they love their families. Strangely enough, their hands are not up. If you love your family, be sure what the gospel is. Teach it to them. Live it out in your family. And be sure you are marching to Zion together as a family. Brother Nemoni, I think I want to stop. I have preached enough. Number one, I want to thank God that I have reminded the leaders of the departments that you were elected in order to augment, to add force to the preaching of the gospel. Because the gospel is the solution to all our problems. Number two, God has commanded us to take the gospel to all the world, because it is the solution to the human predicament and all the disorganization. You know, when we talk about human predicament, it means that through the gospel, we have been saved from the death row where Adam put us, such that all of us were destined for eternal